What's up, y'all? Happy New Year. I hope y'all enjoyed your holidays. I'm Jay Winfield, if you don't know. After not being inspired very much in 2020, I'm really excited to be able to tell y'all my favorite movies of the year of 2021. I'd like to start off with some honorable mentions. Raya and the Last Dragon and Encanto, two great movies from Disney. They always seem to deliver when it comes to fun, entertaining, funny animations, and these two are huge examples of that. A lot of replay value there, beautiful artwork and awesome characters. A Quiet Place 2 is a very good sequel. I don't tend to enjoy very many sequels, especially newer ones. It just seems like everything is a cash grab these days, but A Quiet Place 2 was about as good as the first one, I'd say. No Time to Die. I feel like a lot of fans were pretty separate and split on this one. I know a lot of people that loved it, and I know a lot of people who are, James Bond purists, and I'm honestly not one of those. I love James Bond, but I'm not that invested to where I can get into these specifics of how James Bond is supposed to be. He's not supposed to be like this, whatever. But it seems like a lot of people got into that for this movie. But for me, I thought it was a great send-off for Daniel Craig. He's done an awesome job with this series, and I thought it was cool to get a little deep, but also keep that action-packed theme of who James Bond is in there. I really enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the action, the story, the cinematography. I had a lot of fun, and I really appreciate Daniel Craig for all the work he's put in to this series. The Harder They Fall. The Harder They Fall is a movie that means a lot to me because I'm one of those black people that are tired of black struggle films. It's like, come on, man. We have enough slave films. We have enough films that are talking about bad things that happened in our history and things like that. We get it. We also have other things that we do. Black people have imaginations. Black people have, nightmares. Black people we want to have adventure. We want to do other things. So to have a black cowboy movie, I was not expecting this at all. I was entertained. I won't even get into nitpicks of, oh, this could have been like this or this could have been like that. I don't care about none of that. I just would love to see more of this. I'm glad we've had some black horrors over the last few years, and now we have this. Let's get more. I appreciate this, and I hope we get to touch more genres in the near future. Now it's time for my top 10. At number 10, we got ShangChi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. I am a super huge fan of Kung Fu movies. Kung Fu movies, martial art movies, but specifically foreign Kung Fu movies. And to see a Kung Fu superhero movie, a Kung Fu Marvel movie, live action, and to see it done well, that made me super happy. This was easily one of the bright spots of my movie watching year, to see this movie. I'm disappointed in myself for not seeing it in theaters because, I don't know, I thought about it, then I forgot, and came out on Disney Plus, and I watched it, and I'm killing myself. I'm like, I really should have saw this in theaters because the picture is amazing. All the action scenes are incredible. The fight choreography is amazing. Everything you could possibly want in a Kung Fu film is in this movie. Everything you could possibly want in a superhero movie is in this film. The characters are great, and I've always been kind of a critic of Marvel's use of humor in the MCU. It's like sometimes it's just like overly cheesy. I know it's great for everybody, for Disney and for the kids and stuff, but sometimes I'm just like, it's a little too cheesy for me sometimes. But this one, I felt like most of the comedy was genuine. Most of the comedy was actually funny to me. So that was great to have a good balance. I think it's easily one of the best MCU movies ever made. I would have to go back to look at my top 10 MCU movies to put this somewhere. There's so many movies now and they're still coming with them, but I'm going to figure it out. Sticking with the MCU, at number 9, I got Spider-Man No Way Home. No Way Home is definitely probably one of the best Spider-Man films I've seen. I'm a huge fan of the Tobey Maguire films, the first two specifically. I think they're amazing. Obviously, the third one wasn't really good, and we've had some bumps in the road since then. And I wasn't really on board with Tom Holland's Spider-Man immediately. I guess the relationship with Tony Stark, seeming like he always had to wait on Iron Man to do things, or everything had to revolve around Iron Man in a certain way, which makes sense if you're just doing it for everything connecting in the MCU, and that relationship kind of works for that. But for me, I just want Spider-Man to do things on his own, and this was a coming-of-age film for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It was his best performance to me. He won me over with this performance. So the inclusion of the multiverse is something I've been waiting for comic book films for a long time, whether it be Marvel or DC. I want it. And they delivered with this one, definitely. To bring back my favorite Marvel villain performance, William Dafoe's Green Goblin, I was automatically going to see this movie as soon as I could. William Dafoe deserves so much credit as a Green Goblin, or just as an actor in general. He's so evil in this role. And I just remember watching, thinking, if Tom Holland thinks he can sweet talk this guy into, doing the right thing or giving up, he's going to be sadly mistaken. And in this movie, they did a great job of portraying that, of staying true to these characters and bringing it all together in a really good story. I don't want to get into too many spoilers, of course, because for some reason, a lot of people are still saying don't spoil the movie, even though it's been out for a while now. Zendaya is amazing to me. Everything I've seen her in, her character is believable. She never seems fake when she's on the screen. She's been my favorite part of these three Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man No Way Home is also up there with one of the best MCU movies I've seen. Like I said, I have to go back and redo my list. Number 8, I got Judas and Black Messiah. I know I said I've been tired of movies about dark times in Black history. However, I can't ignore great quality. And this movie is that, just great quality. Great acting, insane acting. Lakeith Stanfield is scary good. It seems like almost pretty much everything I've seen him in, he blows my mind. And he's been in so many different movies now, and every role he's played has been completely different, and he's sold me on every single one of them. If he's in the movie, then I'm probably going to check it out. Daniel Kaluuya, who's been in just as many great films, has had just as many great roles. This movie was just great. The directing was great. The story, of course, hit home for a lot of us. Like I said, I can't ignore quality. Number 7, Last Night in Soho. The easiest way to make it in my top 10 is to give me something original, give me something creative, give me something creepy, and catch me off guard in a good way. Throughout the story, I was trying to figure out, okay, where is the story going? Where are they going with this? But not in a bad way, in an entertaining way, and in a completely different way than usual. And I really appreciated it. I love the way it was shot, beautifully directed. This is what I want to see more out of Hollywood. I'm tired of all of the remakes and all of the sequels, all the cash grabs. Just give me something original. Because usually, lately, when they've given us original movies, they've turned out to be really good. So I don't feel bad about wanting a whole lot more of this. Number 6, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Release the Snyder Cut. I'm a DC fan myself. We've wanted this movie for a long time. When I saw the theatrical release of Justice League, I knew immediately that something was wrong. I mean, not just because the movie was bad, but there was just some things that were so obvious to anybody, whether it be a professional or just a regular moviegoer, that's like, yo, this doesn't make any sense. Why does Henry Cavill have a fake lip? Why does he have a fake CGI lip at the very beginning of the movie? Also, this seems nothing like a Zack Snyder film at all. I mean, you can say what you want about the man, but you know he has a certain style. And that wasn't it. Like, as soon as the movie starts, I'm like, this is not right. So much drama surrounding this movie. So many things that were rumored about how things went with the creation of this film turned out to be true. The Snyder Cut revealed so many things that we all either read or suspected over the course of 4 years. And the Snyder Cut turns out to be a completely different movie from the theatrical release. We got to see these characters be much more interesting, be shown more respect, honestly, because I went from thinking, man, all these guys are terrible at these roles. They should have casted other people, to watching the Snyder Cut and thinking, oh my God, these dudes are perfect. I can't wait to see their standalone movies or more Justice League movies with them in it. I'm going to do an in-depth review probably of Zack Snyder's Justice League, even though I'm late on that. Oh well, there's just too much to talk about from this movie, but just that alone and the fact that it's a historical feat that fans got this movie to be released is enough for it to be on my top 10 list. Number 5, The Father. Anthony Hopkins, best performance of the year. Just continues to show that there are real levels. There's just different levels to acting. And in his own world, honestly. Critics were saying this was his best performance since Silence of the Lambs, so of course I had to see it. Even though he's been in so many other things since that movie and been phenomenal at all of them pretty much, I would have to agree. This is one of those movies that is carried just by acting. That's it. The acting gets you through the whole movie. Some people don't like these kind of movies. Some people are looking for action. Some people are looking for nonstop entertainment. But this is, to me, classic filmmaking. This is before you have all the CGI, before you have all these props, before you have everything else to grab people's attention. Acting in this movie is so real. The story of someone having dementia and having this story filmed from that person's perspective in a lot of ways, that gets me. I feel like this could definitely be, if you haven't seen it, a trigger for people who have family members who have dealt with this. I feel like they've really done their homework on this one. Once again, Anthony Hopkins, man, I don't know what else to say about the man. I mean, when he was serious, I felt it. When he was making jokes, I felt it. It really felt like an older family member of mine. I felt like that's what I was watching. I was watching a grandpa or something the whole time, and he was just perfect. And number 4, I got Nobody. Nobody is, I would say, my favorite action movie of the year. Like I said before, anything dealing with kung fu or martial arts or anything of that nature, fighting, but I love it. And Nobody has a lot of that. It's basically a John Wick, but with more humor. It's not just amazing fight scenes and action scenes and amazing choreography. It's great acting. It's funny. It has pretty much every element you could possibly need in the movie. I mean, it's fast paced and it's just super enjoyable. And it's probably one of the movies that I will probably revisit more than others just because it's so entertaining. Number 3 is Malignant. Malignant is the movie that shocked me the most this year. There's not really much I really want to say about the story because I feel like that would be just a spoiler. And I feel like a lot of people still haven't seen this movie because it wasn't one of the more popular releases. But you should definitely watch this movie. I feel like I'm watching this one kind of movie, and then other things happen, and it makes me question, like, what is this? What is going on? I don't, like, even at a certain point, I'm like, I don't understand. I thought I knew what was going on, but I was like, okay, that's not what's going on at all. And then the twist happens, and, you know, the plot unfolds, and I'm just blown away. I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. This is another one of those movies that goes back to my point of loving originality, loving creativity. It doesn't even have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the greatest movie I've ever seen. I want to feel like these movie makers are pushing the creative envelope. Like, they're really putting an effort towards blowing viewers away. And that's how I felt watching this movie. Number 2, Dune. I've already done a review on this movie, but basically just to summarize how I feel about this movie, it was done by my favorite director, Denis Villeneuve, and I felt like he really did a great job of bringing this universe to life, portraying these characters, portraying these planets, and just setting this story up to continue to the next chapter. Probably the most amazingly shot movie. The larger than life objects, the spaceships, the sandworms, imagery, everything was just amazing. And I'm super excited for Dune Part 2. My number 1 favorite movie of the year is Summer of Soul. The Summer of Soul is a documentary produced by Questlove. I normally don't have documentaries on my list for best movies of the year because, of course, it's a documentary and I look at it as separately. I'm pretty sure you're like, yo, that's not the same thing. But, you know, whatever. It impacted me the most. It affected me emotionally the most of anything I've watched in 2021. It means so much to me as a black man who was obsessed with old school music, old school fashion, old school styles, and to be introduced to something like this, the fest in Harlem in the summer of 1969, that I had no idea existed. I had no idea it happened. A lot of people didn't know it happened, and it was so huge, it honestly got me emotional. A lot of things watching this got me very emotional. To not only have raw footage of these performances, but also to have the actual audio to these performances is insane. You have so many YouTube videos and videos everywhere else online of these old school performances, and they're overdubbed with the studio recording audio. And this is crazy to be able to hear their actual live voices, to hear all these notes, to hear the raw emotion and passion of these artists. It really gives you chills, or at least it gives me chills. Although I'm a huge fan of R&B, soul, and funk, especially old school, I also grew up in the church. My mom had me in church all the time, so I loved both. And there have been times in my life, and I feel like other people can relate, where you kind of felt that divide. Some people don't really get down with listening to secular music, or you loving R&B. In the same way, vice versa. It seems like there's this huge separation in the community between those things. But this festival brings all that together. You see Mahalia Jackson and all of these other gospel legends on the same stage as Gladys Knight and all these other R&B legends. And to see in the crowd how the people received them all the same, that for me meant the world. Because this is how I've always felt. It's awesome to see how events like that festival shaped the next era in the 70s. How we talk, how we dress, it's how we feel. And also to see these interviews of these artists watching themselves and reflecting on what was going on in their lives at the time. All of these things were super heartwarming, and it's really hard to get me to feel like that when I'm watching a film, whether it be movie, documentary, show, whatever. But this is probably my favorite Not probably. It's definitely my favorite documentary of all time. Those are my favorite movies of 2021. Let me know how you felt about those listed. Let me know how you felt about the ones I didn't list. Might have forgot. The reality is I don't get paid to watch movies, so there's probably movies that I didn't even get to. Stay tuned for more reviews. If you like this video, please click subscribe and stay tuned for next time. Peace.